From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hangin web show, it's the legend of the Traveling Tardis. Look inside and behind the scenes to one of the most enduring and beloved sci-fi worlds. Step inside the door to a world that's bigger, brighter, and beyond imagination. As you become a part of the legend of the Traveling Tardis. And now, your host, Christian Basel.
And hello, fellow Whovians. You've landed here again at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show, whether you're listening to us on iHeart, iTunes, Krypton Radio, all across Spotify, wherever you're listening to us. Thank you for listening to us again. For those of you just joining us, welcome, welcome. We hope you enjoy this next adventure that we have, because today we've already gone over Jody, we've already gone over Chibnall. Now we're going to be talking about our favorite three companions from Series 11. We're going to be going into Yaz, Ryan, and Graham. But first, before we begin, let me go ahead and introduce the panel. We got a lot of things to compact today. Just going to be real fast. We've got Melanie Dean from Artist Melanie Dean from Pieces of Melee. How you doing, Melanie?
Doing well. Hello, everyone.
Hello. From Song Swan Cosplay, her on her Instagram, Jessica Womack. Hey, Jessica, welcome back.
Hey, good to be back.
Great. Mr. Brian Burgess, you know him better as Dr. Freedom on his YouTube channel. How you doing, Doctor?
Oh, pretty good. I hope everyone's doing okay out there.
All right. And Mr. Mark Muncy, you know his books very well, especially in Florida. My favorite being Erie, Florida. How are you doing, Mark? How you doing?
Doing well.
Good. We're going to be jumping right in because we got a lot to compact now. We got a lot to break down in the compact that we've got. Now, we've already taken our numbers. Everybody, I've taken their numbers. At the end of the episode, as far as the ratings of the Traveling TARDIS for each companion, I'm not going to give them out to you now. We're going to do that at the end of the episode and guess who, by what we've heard from either panelist, what do you think they decided as far as who they rated as far as the three different companions, Yaz, Ryan, and Graham. But before we get all that started, let's go to our Hulu News Desk with Sage. Sage. Hello there.
Okay, to start us off in the news, in comics, we have the release from Titan Comics this week, the fourth and final in the 13th Doctor Comics series. So that is out. For anybody who's following along for the lovely time-twisting finale, you can get that now. Sadder news, Doctor Who Legacy is to close. Tiny Rebel Games announced that the online game Doctor Who Legacy is closing in about 2 weeks. It was launched in 2013, but they did not renew the license to continue operating. So
that stinks. Especially we haven't had a chance to have Jody on there. But how many of you guys played Legacy?
I had it for a while. I actually have it on my phone now.
I played it till I got the Brigadier, and then I was out.
I was like, there was one part that was so hard, I just could not pass, and I was like, I give up.
It's probably one of those beast modes where they keep healing themselves, or you have to chain 4, 5, or 6. There was like one you had to chain 8 in a row in order to actually attack and everything. Yeah, I know which ones you're talking about.
It's like the Weeping Angel made a comeback, and it's like for every one hit that I notch their thing by a centimeter, they're notching mine by an inch. I'm like, what the heck? Come on, that's not fair. What, you guys gonna miss it? I mean, what happens next?
Well,
I mean, just give up on the app?
You could still play it offline, so you're not going to have any more updates or anything. The bad thing is they just did a storyline that George Mann was doing from Titan Comics, and I don't think they're going to be following up with that or releasing the rest of the story. So that's kind of a bummer. But I am glad one thing that they did say is that you're not going to be able to buy any more time crystals. If you play the game, you know what I'm talking about. But they did release a code where you get 50 of them. So before it runs out, at least the online accessibility part of it, if you play the game, go get that code and, collect the 50, and that way you get free 50. That way you can go ahead and get all those extra characters, you've really been wanting to get, like the Brigadier or just anybody, honestly. I had to make sure I had Harry.
Well, that's kind of sad. Well, let's see if the next story is going to be a better note. What do you say, Sage? What's the next one?
It's not.
No,
I know. I'm sorry to tell you that Clive Swift, who appeared with the Sixth Doctor in Revelation of the Daleks, he has passed. He was also in. He was also with with David Tennant, the Christmas special, Voyage of the Damned.
Yes, he explains Christmas in the most brilliant way, and I want to just, if I could memorize a monologue, that's the monologue I want to memorize.
But he did. He passed peacefully at home.
Turkey were eaten.
So, but that's the last of my sad news. I do have one happy piece of news.
Good.
Yes. Doctor Who was in the top 10. It actually placed number 4 in iPlayer, which is the iTunes version over in the UK. So it was the 4th most popular show on BBC's iPlayer in 2018. So Jodie Whittaker's debut, The Woman Who Fell to Earth, had nearly 4 million requests.
Wow.
Yes, so that was awesome because they were actually over, 3.6 billion programs were requested on iPlayer throughout the year, and that one placed 4th. So that is fantastic news.
Wow. And that is the news. And everybody, stay tuned because we're going straight into the commercials. When we come back, again, we're going to be talking about our 3 companions from Series 11. We're talking about Yaz, Graham, and Ryan. When we return, our ratings are locked in. I've tallied up the numbers, and we're going to tell you who is one of the best companions of Series 11 and who may not be so good. They're all good in their own way, but let's see what we can do to improve them, or if they are already best. And we're going to be probably, if we have time, comparing them to classic companions and who our favorite companions are when we return. Continue to listen and to become part of the legend.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Every year, tens of millions of people flock to Florida for its sunny beaches and world-famous tourist attractions. Most never learn about the strange and unusual locations just off the beaten path. From the UFOs of Gulf Breeze to Robert the Haunted Doll in Key West, learn about the myths, monsters, and legends from the dark side of the Sunshine State with author Mark Muncy and illustrator Carrie Schultz in their books Eerie Florida and Freaky Florida from the History Press. Find them at EerieFlorida.com or wherever books are sold.
Devarius has lost everything. His parents murdered, his sister kidnapped, and the new village he called home destroyed. The Dragonia Empire is out of control, destroying anything and everything in their path, searching for the Resistance. Devarius is left with no choice but to find the Resistance, join them, and hope he can help them defeat the Dragonia Empire once and for all to bring peace to the land of Keldroga. Dragonia, Rise of the Wyverns, Dragonia Empire Volume 1.
Hello, sweeties. I'm Crystal Moore. I play the Doctor in fan series Doctor Who Velocity. You're listening to The Legend of the Traveling Tardis radio show.
Oh, no. No. Hello. So, I've just been reading this book. I'm Oliver Dudar here. This is the most terrifying book I've ever read, yes, that I've ever written. You'll like it. Here it goes. Just a bit, mind you. You can't stand a long excerpt. Book 1, The Long Night, The Beginning of Fear. the Time Lord was late. That's me.
Wow. Okay. That's a way to come back from a commercial. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Legend of the Traveling Tardis radio show. My name's Christian Basel, and I have my friends Melanie. I have my friend Brian. You know him better as Dr. Freedom. I have Mark Muncy. I have Jessica Womack. And I think that's it, right? I think I got everybody covered. We've got a big episode to go from, and we're going to be talking about the companions. And I'm going to open up this question to everybody. Who do you think is the most memorable companion out of the three?
Graham.
That's yeah.
Wow, Ryan and Yaz got dissed real fast on that one.
Well, I honestly think it's because to me, of the three, Graham was more of that comedic voice of the trio, and you have a tendency of remembering the comedy guy, and all of the if you think of going back of all the doctors with and all of his and her companions, the comedic ones are the ones that you really kind of sparks that memory. And I think for me, Graham was the one that was just always had the great lines. He had the punchline, and even the some of the things he was doing was very physically funny. I mean, the man was bringing cheese sarnies just because he was hungry.
And what's funny is that's what he's known for as an actor, is being the funny guy. But I think he brought some of the most emotional weight to the show too. It was, he had to deal with the whole. I think he had showed the most range of all of them. By far.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree on that.
And that's seeing them when they initially were cast, I was like, oh man, he's just going to be a goofball. And then, wow, he nailed it.
Was that everybody's impression when David Bradley was cast? Did everybody have that assumption that he was, they didn't think he was going to be the least worthy of the companions, and now he's pretty much everybody's favorite from this point?
I hope you mean Bradley Walsh.
Sorry, Bradley Walsh. No, I mean David Bradley. Anyways, no, Bradley Walsh. Yeah, Bradley Walsh. When everybody was introduced, when you heard that the three companions were coming up, what was your first impression, Jessica, when you first saw Yaz and Graham and Ryan?
Well, I tried to stay away from trailers as much as possible. Mm-hmm. But the one thing with Graham I thought was, I was like, I really hope he doesn't become like an elderly punchline. Like that's the shtick that they use of like, oh, I can't run, bad knees, which they didn't do. So I was very happy of that. And then the others, it was just kind of like, oh, are they pulling the diversity card here? But I was really excited for it too, because, the last male person of color that we had as a companion, bless, was Mickey. And, he has his own personality. He became such a better person when he came back from that parallel universe. But I was really excited to have a male person of color as a companion with a different personality than Mickey.
Oh, well, Mark, how do you think Graham's interaction with the Doctor, how do you think that played out as far as the two of them working together?
When you go back to your first question about how when they first were cast, I was afraid he was going to be another Bernard Cribbins, where they were just going to kind of make him goofy and then give him a little bit here and there to work with.
Right.
And then, of course, they gave old Bernard Cribbins that amazing episode that one year. But no, this was... I was worried that that's what it was going to be. And then, no, I thought he did fantastic. I thought he was the one who was bringing humility to the Doctor, which I think the Doctor, the companions, the best thing about companions are what they bring to the Doctor. And I thought he was the one bringing humility and a little, hey, this is the way things work around humans, which I think the other two were kind of lacking in a little bit. So I liked his relationship with Jodie.
I'm trying to. I think we're going to give a lot of kudos to Graham. I think we know where the direction is going on this. As far as writing As far as writing, Brian, do you think that Graham was given too much of the good lines and too much of the good scenes, that it kind of dwarfed out Yaz and Ryan too much?
Well, that's always a problem you got to look out for, especially when you're going to have so many people in an ensemble. But in this case, I think he was, at the right places at the right times, where exactly where he needed to be. Such dramatic moments, such as like in Demons of the Punjab, when he's sitting there telling Yaz about that's not your grandma in there and all that, and we're doing things that no one else can do. And then, of course, when he confronts the doctor at the Battle of Ranskorav Kolos and all that. So I don't think he's taking away, but he's definitely fulfilling his bit and then some.
I don't think he's taken away. I think he's just giving the good lines. He's given the good moments, because I think he tries to play the father figure, especially towards Ryan. And he is becoming fatherly, that he I think he does take the paternal role. Where I could be totally wrong about this, Jessica, but I think like the Jody has more of the maternal instincts, and Graham's like the father in this all, and they try to keep the kids together per se.
Yeah, but I also think Graham was also set up with a lot more growth possibilities. Mm-hmm. Like, Yaz wasn't given much to work with. It was just like, we've got a cookie cutter, we're going to call her a cop, we'll throw her in there, she's female, and she's not white. Perfect. We've got that check, off the books. We don't actually have to give her much of a personality. That's what that came across to me. But with Graham, what they did was they gave him a backstory with Grace and a relationship with Ryan, which was portrayed very well. And then you knew that it had, and I think I even said this on one of our first episodes, I was excited to see where he would go and how he would grow, because he was timid. He didn't like to go out of his shell. He didn't like to do anything that was risky. And he was one to back down from a fight, because better stay safe and just do what you know, as opposed to go out of your comfort zone, which, if you know anything about the Doctor, you're not staying in your comfort zone if you travel with the Doctor. And so I think he was set up, writing-wise, to be a better companion, and because he was written well. And yeah, he had the good one-liners and everything, but I really think that the reason that we kind of are drawn more to him is because of the fact that he's just written a lot better, and he's given a journey, whereas the other two aren't really. Ryan's journey felt a little forced, and Yaz didn't go through one at all.
Okay, let's jump around a bit there. Let's pull in Yaz, and let's talk about her. Everybody seems to kind of have a negative connotation of Yaz, and Melanie, why do you think that is? I mean, I kind of see as Yaz being the buddy. When I've always talked about Yaz, harking back to Troughton and Jamie McCrimmon, and also Nardole and the 12th Doctor. Where do you see Yaz as far as being a companion to the 13th Doctor?
At first, I was when you find her backstory that she's a cop and that she's still kind of green around the gills, that she's still new in the profession. I thought that she would be more of in the cast ensemble. She'd be more the enforcer, and for me, it didn't happen with her character, only because I think because in my personal life I know so many people who have gone into law enforcement, mm-hmm. who are her cops or sheriff's deputies, who are lieutenants, they've done this. They're cut from a different kind of cloth, in that they can there's a facet of them that can turn off and get right into, here's all of my training, here's every procedure, here's every possible code and everything that I need to, do. They just become, I don't want to say a machine, but there's that it's the training, as you go into that muscle memory and even into your mind of that training mm-hmm. of, okay, this is what I need to do. And I kind of never saw that with her. I really thought at first that she'd have that kind of enforcer kind of thing, or she'd be more assertive, that she would be more just kind of click right back into that kind of training. So whenever, the doctor's kind of having fun and, would see like something's going on with the hotel and, what's going on with these spiders, that I just felt like Yaz would have just jumped right into that, okay, well, I need to ascertain what this is and this is and this is. Could it be this? Could it be this? Almost like there's a whiteboard in her mind and that she's following it and she's going to go do this next. I never saw that for her. And I agree that she almost became more of that buddy and for the doctor, and that they did have, I thought they had a lot of times where there was great banter between them, but it almost seemed like that she was more of a sounding board. But even then, Graham seemed to be more of that sounding board for the doctor in the episode like with Rosa when they're inside the hotel and she's writing on the wall. So I think that there were a lot of missed opportunities that maybe had gone to Graham, so to speak, where I would have thought that would have been Yaz, just from her character build-up.
Gotcha. Brian, where do you what are some positive things that you appreciate about Yaz being in Series 11?
Well, when she first started out, we saw that, she was able to handle a tense situation. Look at the incident, where the lady put the hammer through the windshield and all that.
Right.
But she's also kind of like become like the person that, gets the explanation from the doctor more than anything. That, kind of is leading away. But at the same time, she is growing a bit, but I don't see enough of it, to be honest with you. They haven't really, delved that much into her as much as I thought they would. I hate to sound negative. I'm supposed to be saying positive, but, that's kind of what I've been getting from Yaz, is that they're not giving her enough presence.
I think I don't think it sounds negative. If you have an opinion about something, especially about Series 11, which has had quite a few opinions since Series 10.
Yeah, she's becoming like the Nissa of this series, I have to say.
I was going to call her the Mickey of this series, so yeah.
I didn't want to go into our poll, but somebody had mentioned... I didn't want to go too far into it. I wanted to read some of the comments, but I guess we'll dive into it. But and we'll talk about Ryan a little bit. But Ryan was considered the Black Adric, and people were no, not in the negative way. The Black Adric that was done right, meaning that Adric was annoying and over. But I think in Ryan's case, and I see it. In the way that I'll try to pull it up on my phone and read it in a second there, but he was questioning, and he was always, outgoing. Where Adric was kind of like, Adric, stay put, don't go anywhere. He was the one that always took off and ran and got himself into trouble, and Ryan was kind of the same way. But for me, I think he did it right over there. But before I go into Ryan, let's stay with Yaz a little bit there. Yeah. Jessica, if you had Chibnall's ear, how do you think you could improve Yaz?
I mean, ultimately, I could not tell you anything about her personality or as a character whatsoever. That's how I left an entire season with her. And I'm like, I don't know anything about her besides what you told us in the very first episode. Like personality quirks and stuff like that. And I understand it's always slow going with companions and everything, but it really did feel like they needed to introduce each companion on a different episode. Or give them an episode just them to really get to know who is this person. Because I feel like we did get to know Graham, and we somewhat got to know Ryan with his father issues and everything. But with Yaz, we're like, okay, so she's kind of, you got a family situation that she gets on with but doesn't get on with, but we don't really know. And she's got a job that she doesn't really have anything that has bled over into her personal life from her job, because I absolutely agree with what Melanie said. I really expected her to be like, almost like that, an older version of Ace or something, where she's like beating up a Dalek with a bat. Like that's what I wanted from Yaz, and right. Instead it was just, I couldn't tell you anything about her. And so that's what I would say is like, give her at least a shtick if you're going to. Like you knew about, as much as we harp on Moffat for the way I've heard, at least, for the way he wrote certain females and everything, there was always, the girl who waited, the impossible girl. And then you've got Donna Noble, which I know is Davies, who has the label of the most important woman, and Rose, Defender of the Galaxy, and there was always something defining them. And I know that was further along in their tales, but I couldn't tell you anything about Yaz. So that's what I would tell Chibnall, is like, give her something definite, defining.
Mark, I'm going to read this. I'm going to go ahead and read this. It does come from the poll, and I just want to elaborate on this because we kind of just went over this, Mark. Graham's one of the best characters. This is coming from Adrian Sherlock, one of my friends there. Graham's one of the best characters of all time. Ryan's the Black Adric, a bit of a tendency to bite off more than he can chew, but means well, even if he's a bit rude or for refusing to fist bump. Yaz is a bit of a Nissa, a bit of a passenger, but generally sweet in demeanor. They have a working class vibe, which is very much a return to Russell T Davies' days in the Ninth Doctor, bless you. All in all, a good team whose popularity will increase over time as they have a chance to grow. Helps to listen very carefully to, as Brian has a tendency to mumble. It took a rewatch to catch his comment to Graham when the pregnant character was going into labor. Come on, Professor Squeamish. Are we looking at kind of a reflection of the Fifth Doctor's characters?
I mean, that's kind of an interesting bring up there. I was thinking Yaz reminds me of, like I said earlier, Mickey, kind of a companion's companion. Not really a companion of the Doctor, just there to kind of be another piece of the puzzle to help the companions through different things. Mm-hmm. And, the kind of... early on they were kind of hinting that there might have been some feelings there at some point in the past, and when they were kids, and that kind of thing. I thought that might go somewhere, and then again with the whole she's a cop but she's not doing any cop things. Mm-hmm. Again, it seemed like really wasted character, because she's brilliant in the few scenes where she was given just a little bit of material. She was amazing. The Demons of the Punjab, she has one scene where I was like, oh, Yes, she can act. This is amazing. Give her more. And I felt that way about, sadly, most of the companions. And like I said, they were just giving it all to Graham, it seemed like.
See, Brian, I have a hard time, and this is where probably some fans are going to kick me. I see Yaz as Turlo, where we did give her something at the very beginning, but as soon as the series progressed, we basically just kind of like, well, I don't know what to do with her. So she either paired up with somebody else, or like Turlo, we kind of just put her, locked them up, or got them in a rock quarry, or I left them in the TARDIS because we didn't know what to do with her. And that's the kind of feeling I got with the writers. And this is not anything to do with the actress. It has a lot to do with, did anybody have a direction for her beyond the first 3 episodes?
Yeah, I'm afraid she's going to get, like I said, she's just going to disappear or go into an alternate dimension and then come back as a badass, so we'll like her.
Is that what happens to all the companions nowadays?
All the ones that they realized they screwed up with and had actually a good actor. Let's fix it.
All right. Well, then in that case, Brian, how would you fix Ryan? How would you fix Yaz?
Oh, let's see. We got to give her some more background. We got to give her a little more screen time. We also have to develop her as a character a bit more. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of times, like, as has been said before, that she could have really stepped in, and then, they just hand it off to Graham, or they hand it off somewhere else. And, that's become kind of a habit. That's why I compared her to Nissa, as your friend did. Because here's somebody who started off with a great beginning and then just kind of like got left by the wayside all the time, kind of got pushed back into the background. And they really need to give her an episode where she can come to the forefront.
Well, when we return... sorry, go ahead. No,
they did try it with Demons of the Punjab, like I said, but still, a lot of it got passed off.
I just don't think they gave her enough support in the writing. And they're giving Graham all the good lines. Ryan has the relationship with Graham, and we're kind of focused on that. And then I feel like Yaz is kind of like off to the side and just not... they kind of buddy her up with 13, but nothing comes out of it, I don't think. And being a cop, Melanie, I would think that she would actually challenge the 13th Doctor.
Oh, no, I completely agree. I think she would be. I don't think she would be completely like aggressive-y kind of, but more assertive. Just if she has a thought, she'd say it. And I think they've shown that where if she does have a missive or has an idea or anything, she'll bring it up. But I think she would have more. I think that's the bottom line. It's more. I want more from Yaz. I want more from Ryan. I want more. It's not like I don't dislike them. I want more.
Well, speaking of which, we're up against a hard break. We're going to have a lot more coming back when we return to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show right after we pay for some bills, right after this.
Joanne Fisher's The Spanish Doll. Secrets in Italy? Oh yes. Her beauty strikes him like a thunderbolt sent by the goddess Venus. When Fiore is given a peculiar gift, a Spanish doll, she is thrown into a whirlwind of entangled passion, money, secrets, and love. Get swept away today by Hangin with web show featured author Joanne Fisher's The Spanish Doll. Available now on Amazon.com.
Now on Amazon.com. War Calls, Love Cries, a Civil War novel by Mark Berry. Isaac Wells is an innocent farm boy living in upstate New York. His dreams are shattered by a treacherous brother and the onset of a devastating civil war. War Calls and Love Cries is a fast-moving historical narrative. It is an emotional roller coaster ride and a riveting must-read book that you will think about and talk about for a long time to come. War Calls, Love Cries is the kind of book you will cherish for a lifetime. On Amazon.com today.
From some of today's best-selling, award-winning authors comes 22 page-turning tales, Cursed Lands.
Cursed Lands will lead you through one doomed world after another in a haunting dystopian urban fantasy.
Join the courageous as they battle for survival across worlds where fae, vampires, angels, witches, and more roam freely.
Cursed Lands is coming soon on Apple Books, Kobo, and Nook.
Pre-order your copy for just 99 cents today.
Murder by the Gods from author William G. Collins is available today. Murder by the Gods is a mystery thriller set in the glorious past of ancient Egypt. When the son of the Scorpion King suddenly collapses after receiving a mysterious threat from the god Seth, the prince is convinced it is the gods who are trying to kill his family. Murder by the Gods is filled with adventure and romance in a kingdom that would become known as the Land of the Pharaohs. Murder by the Gods from author William G. Collins is available on Amazon.com today.
Unsweet tea.
And we're all having unsweet tea as we're coming back from commercial break. Welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show. I'm Christian Basel. Thank you for continuing to listen to us. We're still delving into the... Later on, we'll tell you what we're drinking tonight during the recording there. Anyway, welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian. I'm here with my friends Melanie, Brian, Mark, and Jessica. We are continuing our discussion about Series 13. Yeah, there we go. That's how much we're in. Series 11, Jodie's 13th Doctor's companions, Ryan, Yaz, and Graham. We've talked about Graham. We've talked about Ryan in the previous things, but I know, Jessica, you wanted to jump out a little bit there. You wanted to add more to Yaz. Tell me a little.
Yeah, with what we were saying right before break about how we felt that, or you guys felt, but I agree, so I guess it's we, that Yaz should have kind of conflicted with the Doctor a little bit, or had some friction based off of her training and being a cop and everything. And I feel like that would have solved some of the issues that some of us had with the Doctor, how the Doctor was written in this series, because if you have that bit of friction between a companion and the Doctor, it makes the Doctor become the Doctor and assert themselves in that role, which I know we've said in the past was a little bit of an issue of, and once again it was the writing. It's not Jodie, and it's all the acting's been fabulous, but it's really just been the writing with that. And so if they had done that, that would be an excellent way to add some friction. I know they tried to with Graham, with the one time where he's like, I'm gonna kill him, and that was great, but he backed down too soon. He should have genuinely tried to kill him, and we should have seen the space god come out of the Doctor and tell him to stop. But yeah, I really kind of wish that Yaz wouldn't be as much of a buddy and more of a, well, I think it should be done this way, and the Doctor have an issue with it.
I don't mind them being buddy, and like I said, that's I think the direction they were going. But at some point, I think what they should have done is put in the cop instincts, like you said, that
and
she
they conflict.
And they conflict. And then when Jodie makes a decision, she's going, "No, doctor, no." But she just kind of rides along with everything as if she doesn't.
Everything's pretty and rainbows and perfect, no matter what the doctor does.
Right. We have that with the doctor. We don't. The companion shouldn't be a reflection of that. The doctor does that. And Yaz would have been a perfect companion to go, not everything is rainbows and everything. I'm a police officer. I should know. I've seen people arrested. I've seen people killed. I've seen, I've been on the beat of the street. I know the folly of things. And I think there should have been a conflict every now and then. I think that would have raised the stakes for Yaz, and I think she would have been rated much better companion.
And that was the beautifulness between the doctor and Donna, was they had that conflict of Donna was like, no, you will not, and they had that conflict even though they were buddies. And I just kind of wish there was more of that, because the doctor sometimes needs to be reined in, and I don't think there is anyone in this group of companions who could tell the doctor no, because they seem so much to please.
So that's what I think, too, is that the companions bring the humanity back to the doctor, and each one brings something different. I mean, we'll go back to the classics. Even Leela and Romana all had different things that they brought to the doctor. And Romana, even being another Time Lord, brought a different aspect to the doctor. And I think that's the problem with some of the new companions, is they're not bringing anything. They're being...
Susan's the epitome of that. Like, she literally brought the humanity to... Yeah.
Exactly, and that's and that's what you want, and that's what and I'm afraid that's not what we're getting with this series.
And when I asked the question, who's the most memorable companion, you all shouted Graham almost instantly, and that's kind of scary because we have 3 companions. We should have had 3 different answers, but the focus seemed more on Graham than the other 2, and there were times when things, I think, Mark, could have been for Yaz, and they were just not explored. I think she could have been as strong a companion as Graham, and I think Ryan is a very strong companion, but really she needed something to make her memorable. And Punjab kind of pushed her out of there, but it wasn't enough. I think her Nan was more memorable than Yaz.
Exactly. And it's, they gave her... It's like, oh, here's an episode about your family, but you're going to only be in maybe 10 minutes of it.
Right.
Yep.
All right, well, we'll switch gears over to Ryan. What'd you guys think of Ryan?
Okay, Ryan... Okay, now, you said earlier someone compared him to Adric, but to me, he's more comparable to, like, Harry Sullivan. Anybody remember Harry Sullivan out there? Okay.
Yeah.
Here's a very guy, he's intelligent, but the problem is he's the guy who's always running in and getting his foot caught in it.
Yes.
And that's who Ryan reminds me of more than anything. He's so, willing to please and all that. Boom, he's always fumbling into these situations, and that's why he reminds me more and more of Harry Sullivan than he does just about anybody else in the past.
Well, the best analogy of that is Ghost Monument, where he pulls out the gun and starts shooting. The doctor's going, no, 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 no. And then he's all of a sudden the space gamer, and then all of a sudden backfires. And it's like, oh, God, yeah.
I absolutely adored that part because it finally, to me, gave me a facet of his characterization. That was a part where when you're not thinking, you're just going to go for it. That's what that character did. And it kind of finally, for me, took the curtain back and going, okay, well, Brian's just kind of a bland character and going, okay, I'm going to go out there and Call of Duty this. I'm like, oh, okay. It gave me a little bit more depth to what he's about. But even like with Harry Sullivan, he would at least question the doctor. He always kind of went on the, even, as a doctor, he would kind of bring up other, things, different medical things or whatever. And he would question them. I agree that he would run out there and, get caught up in it. And right now we're kind of seeing that from Ryan. But other than that, with Yaz, I want more. I need to see more of his character, whether it's for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the disability that he has. That's,
dysmorphia?
Dyspraxia.
Dyspraxia. What's dysmorphia?
Okay. But they used
it's a planet.
I know.
Just making up names now.
I was like, I know it sounds familiar, so I'm just gonna say it.
But in the beginning, we learned that with the bike, and then we see it tied up at the very end. I only think maybe once or twice we actually kind of see that again, like when the bubble wrap, when he jumped. And that, to me, honestly, that part where they were on the belt and it was him and Yaz, I think that was a good point, a good part to point out of when they both kind of, you saw their character, how they had each other's back. She was more assertive and they had his hand like, no, we could do this. I see a little bit more of that cop part of her going, nope, we got this. We're going to do this. Here we go. And him, going, all right. And then, getting past that physicality that he has. But otherwise, I want more. I need more. Chibnall, I want more.
Well, and a lot of the things that have been mentioned about the companions, we're referencing the first few episodes.
Yep.
Which is so sad.
Yeah.
Because that's what it feels like it was done. It was like, oh, here's the characters, here's their characterizations, but you're not going to see them the rest of the season. Don't worry about it. And that's what it honestly felt like. Even with Ryan, it was like, okay, here's Ryan. He's your, and I even said that. I was like, early in like one of the first episodes we did on Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, I was like, he is the representation of the modern millennial because he has the tech things, because he started out with a YouTube video and then he mentions Call of Duty and I was like, oh, so that's going to be his shtick. He's going to know about, the technology and he's going to be in with the kids, I guess. And then that was it though. We didn't see it past like the first two episodes. And I was like, oh, okay, so he's not representing the millennials. He's just there. Okay, cool. And that's what it felt with both Ryan and Yaz, which I think is why we have such more of a drawing towards Graham, because Graham had an arc. Whereas Yaz and Ryan, their arc was done within the first episode, which wasn't really an arc. It was just, oh, here's their information as a character. You develop your own version of how you think that they are.
And they both were given families, and the families were far more interesting than the characters, sadly.
Yeah.
And that's like, oh my gosh, it's at least Jackie Tyler was an incredible, fun character, and but had to be because Rose was pretty interesting. This, it doesn't take much to top these two the way they're written, and you're right. It seems like the whole middle of the series, they didn't know what to do with it. I think Ryan had his moment with King James.
That was beautiful.
Really good. That was amazing. He had a few good moments, but they also, took a lot away. I mean, they, like I said, they did, oh, he's got a problem. Oh, we forgot about it for 7 episodes. And
I will say about the problem did seem in minor ways to come up every single episode. It was in very small, because I think even with the pregnant dude episode with the Pating, there was one mention of it, of him not being like, but it was slide comments.
Yeah.
So if you weren't looking for it,
short.
You wouldn't have. But I feel like if they had thrown it in your face, that would have been an issue with a lot of people too, because, if it's I understand everyone has their own struggles that they overcome. I'm asthmatic, but like half the people I know don't know I'm asthmatic because I don't go around telling people. Does it affect me every day? Yes. So, but I feel like it would almost be offensive if you were like, by the way, I have this disability. And so I feel like they pulled it back and they did make it subtle for a reason.
I want to hold that thought right there, Jessica, because I do want to go into disability and handicaps throughout Doctor Who, and I'll explain why when we return from this hard break. Folks, stand by. We'll be returned. We're going to continue talking about our 3 companions from Series 11, Yaz, Ryan, and Graham. When we return to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, continue to listen and become part of the legend. From the imagination of author Kevin J. Kessler, the Rosinante dragons are no more. They have fallen into the obscurity of lore. Now warrior Valentine Burress and Seraphina, a magically gifted princess, are on a mission to save the world of Terra. Together they must face the Rosinante legacy and combat the greatest threat their world has ever known. In the end, who is stronger, the man or the dragon? Find out in Kevin J. Kessler's The Rosinante series on Amazon.com today.
Best-selling and award-winning author of true crime and crime fiction, Yvonne Mason is back with a brand new book, The Pink Canary, a book that delves into the life of a drag queen and a marvelous whodunit. You can find this and all of Yvonne's other works on Amazon.com, or find Yvonne Mason on Facebook and Twitter.
He's gonna kill me.
Buy your copy of Pink Canary now.
The Right of Wands. One boy, one right. And a world of deadly secrets that could change the course of history forever. It's time for The Right of Wands by Mackenzie Floor. When a horrible fate reveals itself during the Right of Wands ceremony, Myrda must find a way to change his destiny. Forbidden from revealing the future, he is granted a wand and magical powers in order to save himself and those he loves. But Myrda is not the only one with secrets. The Right of Wands by Mackenzie Floor, available on Amazon.com now.
This is Cosplayer Michael with the Hangin Club Show. I want to tell you about my friends at Embellis Effects in Orlando, Florida. They've got makeup, costumes, and props for all of your costume needs. And the team at Embellis Effects is helpful and friendly. Embellis Effects is one of my favorite places, and I know it will be yours too. I'll see you there. Or go to embelliseffects.com. And remember, cosplay is for everyone.
That's right, Cosplay Michael. Cosplay is for everyone, and cosplay is not consent. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Legend of the Traveling Tardis radio show. My name is Christian Basel, and I've got a bunch of people here drinking. We're just not going to tell you what we're drinking, but it's making the show a lot more enjoyable. Anyway, welcome back to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. We're continuing our discussion with the companions of Series 11, Yaz, Ryan, and Graham. And I wanted to bring up a topic because we were talking about people with handicap. And I have a friend named Kurt Yeager. I don't know if anybody knows him. He's an actor with a prosthetic leg, but for some of you might know him from Sons of Anarchy.
Yes.
And he was always somebody who was promoting something that always affected me as far as character development with people with disabilities. In such case, like the last series, the doctor went blind and recovered. But why can't you have a companion who has a disability, who endures with it, and probably becomes a part of what they do? And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because there was a character in Series 10 which I simply adored. It was played by actress Rachel Denning, and I don't know if anybody remembers the character. Her name was Erica. Does anybody remember her from Series 10? It was the pyramid at the end of the world.
Oh, the young lady in the lab?
The young lady in the lab, but she was, and I'm trying, please, I don't forgive me, don't send me the hate mail, height challenge for a better term. But the relationship between her and the doctor, I wanted Bill and Nardole to leave to put her into the TARDIS.
Yeah.
They were so fun. They were working so well together. They were only together for, maybe 3/4 of an episode? And I already wanted to put her into the TARDIS. But what about a companion who has a disability that it doesn't get better. It's become a part of them and become part of who they are. And I was hoping with Ryan that they would explore that a little bit more. But is it maybe, can it be too much? Can you have every episode where his illness comes in, and at some point you got to say, well, come on, we know he's got it, does he come over it? I mean, what about a companion with a disability they just don't get over because that's part of them?
Well, considering that his was solely physical,
yes.
kind of thing, I almost, and I'm very cautious to say this, would this be Towson's a little bit onus to him in that did it have to be written for, if the only times that we ever noticed it was written, as in literally somebody was talking about it and how that had a problem with it, whether it was the very beginning with the bike or why
ladders.
The ladders, it's the only time that you saw it is when he was talking. So I'm kind of almost telling myself now I want to go back and watch to see if, as an actor, when he was in the background or when he was moving or doing anything else, if he was present and presenting that and we just never noticed, or if he really wasn't kind of showing that off.
Or at the same time, if it's not, because I've never met anyone that I know with this, but is it one of those invisible disabilities? And is it kind of reminding us that we don't always see it when people struggle with certain things or they aren't able to walk long distances? And so it's almost like a quiet lesson of that, not everyone who has a disability is it visible unless you mention it.
Well, if anybody remembers Classic Who, the 5 Doctors, Sarah Jane Smith admitted she had vertigo.
Vertigo, yeah.
If anybody remember that. But that was the only time I remember throughout the whole series. She was with Pertwee and Tom Baker and never showed up until the 5 Doctors. Yep. But would that have been an interesting run if she did have it? And every so often it would just kick in.
And to be fair, I don't mention my epilepsy much, but when it comes up, people go, "What?"
Well, it's those things. But I meant, could it be stronger? Could somebody be in a wheelchair and be a companion?
I loved the deaf girl in the episode with Capaldi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was one of the best things. And he's like yelling at her. And he's like, "Oh, what am I doing?" But like it was a funny moment. But at the same time, for someone who is hearing, like, you do sometimes forget because they are human beings. It's, and so many people are like, "Oh, they're disabled." And I'm like, no, they're literally just a sound of his mind. We are, so I thought that was a beautiful moment for Capaldi to just forget that she couldn't hear. And I was like, oh, right. Yeah. You can't hear what I'm saying. Got it. And using that as, I loved that. I thought that was a beautiful way to do it, but I think that would be really interesting to do. It would be hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
From a writing standpoint, to not make a point of it every single episode, I feel.
But I think if the writers can concentrate on something where it's not predominant, but is part of the story and is part of the challenge, and for them to get over it. But what if a companion just has a wheelchair?
Yep.
Well,
then he winds up like K9 and stuck in the TARDIS.
Oh, God. No, you did not go there.
Get him a hover chair like Professor X. Hell,
there you go.
Exactly.
Or do they use things like, aliens and cyborgs like Banacafalata, where they didn't make a point of the fact that he's a smaller being than the rest that were on the Titanic, but it became an advantage type thing. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Somebody mentioned a continuity error, kind of in a strange sense, a continuity error. The Doctor saves the life of the pig guy. I can't remember in the Daleks Take Manhattan.
Laszlo.
There we go. I'm glad somebody remembered there.
I don't. That's the only reason is the accent. That's the only reason I remember his name.
But I'm trying to think, how much power and influence and does the Doctor have that he could probably do something for Ryan, take him somewhere to get that? Or should it be just part of it?
But who has the right? I think that's also a moral thing of, should I? Because becoming a pig person was an outside force. That was from the Daleks. Ryan was born with this. Gotcha. So I think that's almost a playing God thing. That's a Waters of Mars issue.
Well, team, we started a bit a while back, and I want to continue on here. The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS has a poll that we do twice a week. And the poll that we had to this week, I'm sorry I put it out late, but it got a lot of responses. The question was, what do you think, as a group, about 13's companions, Brian. So we're doing Benifer and all that. I just put them together. Yazaram or something like that. We'll just put all three of them together.
Yam.
Brian, I like that.
Yam.
Yeah.
Yam.
Nice. What do you guys think of them? Do you like them or don't you like them? And 239 people voted. How many people do you think went into the like category? Take a guess.
Ooh, that's difficult.
175.
175. Who's got a different number?
120. Price is Right rules. 120.
Price is Right rule, yeah.
Prizes after this there.
180.
180.
120.
120.
Like. We said like, right?
Yes, like them.
Okay.
The actual retail price of this amount of people who voted like 182 people.
Whoa.
Wow.
57 of them didn't like the three of them. And I'm going to read you some comments that we told them we'd be. Adam, forgive me, Fotheringham, I'm sorry if I get your names wrong. To be honest, Graham is the only companion I liked. Alec Ward, I love them. They were all very good and grew together. Mark Sharp said Graham was great. Ryan worked better with Graham, but Yaz was always bland and forgettable. And then Andrew Stetke, sorry, Andrew. I thought Graham was hilarious and loved seeing Ryan overcome his coordination disability, but they kind of ignored that for most of the series, which we all pretty much said. Also, I know the series focused a lot on Graham and Ryan dealing with the loss of Grace, but I would love to have seen would have liked to see more, some more character development for Yaz too. So I think they pretty much said everything that we've kind of said.
Good points, all of them. And honestly, when it comes to characterization, I mean, you think about how many episodes Grace was in. You saw her in the first one, and she was gone. And then you saw her, or some semblance of her in other ones, but the character was nailed down. I could tell you I liked her. I already knew her everything, her values, what her her visions and values and all that kind of fun stuff. I still am. It's just a blank slate with some of the other aspects of Yaz and Ryan.
I would have liked to have rather had Grace and Graham in the TARDIS. I think, yeah.
Grace and Graham.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Oh, I would have loved that.
That was a nice couple then, yeah.
And her saying, "Come on, Graham, just do it."
And Ryan, and Ryan too, who may not be liking the relationship.
Yeah, they'd be like on their honeymoon, and he'd be the odd kid out, the step
exactly.
kid. Terrible.
Actually, I wonder if maybe because of that first episode, that's when you first saw Grace. You first saw Grace. You first saw Yaz because Grace was that assertive female character. Mm-hmm. Do you think Chibnall kind of backed up a little bit on Yaz because you didn't want to have the cop assertiveness and then Grace being assertive? With everything, we're like, come on, Graham, let's go. Oh, we're going to do this now.
How dare two females be assertive?
Right?
But then why make her a cop in the first place then? Why not just make her a cook or like Bill or something like that? We're coming up to the end of the show right now. We got a few minutes, so instead of guessing, I'm going to read off everybody's numbers. Melanie, Yaz, 7. Ryan, 7. Graham, 8. Jessica, Yaz, 4. Ryan, 5. Graham, 7. Brian, 6.5 for Yaz, 8 for Ryan, and 10 for Graham. And Mark gave 6 for Yaz, 6 for Ryan, and Graham a 9 for the total for Yaz, 23.4. There's 23.5, sorry. Ryan, 26, and Graham, 34. My numbers, Yaz, 3, Ryan, 7, Graham, 9. Ooh. So Graham seems to be our favorite out there, but I'm hoping with Series 12 coming out soon, they'll change that. They'll be more of a reflection of the three of them working together, and we can see relationships among the three. We can see Yaz popping out over there. So I do feel bad that Yaz is not getting her day out in the sun, but hopefully that Chibnall has looked at that and said, listen, we need more relationships between the three of them and their relationship to work with the Doctor. Folks, thank you for joining us here at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Don't forget, we are going to be, all of us here, at Sci-Fi Bartow, February 16th. Check them out on their Facebook page and their website. Links will be in the link. We'll have the links below. to check it out there. And we're going to be taking stage 2 with the Hanging With web show. And don't forget, the Spacey Awards are out. And yep, we're up there on the top there. So please keep us up there. Spacey Awards at the Spacey Awards 2019 on Facebook page if you want to vote. But vote for your favorite if you love the Hanging With show. If you love us, if you love anything under the umbrella of the Hanging With team, please do. And please continue to listen to us always, every single week. We'll be out here talking Doctor Who, and we got some great episodes coming up for all of you. I want to again thank Melanie, thank Jessica, thank Mark, thank Brian, all of you guys for coming out over here, and thanks for the Hanging With team for recording with us. Always continue to listen and become part of the legend.